He spoke softly when he finally admitted it. There had always been one woman he could never forget. Not the one he married. Not the one the tabloids worshipped. Someone else. A ghost who had carved her name into his life decades ago, and never let go. For years he refused to talk about her. But now at 88 the silence was cracking. Adrian Vale had spent his entire career cultivating an aura of mystery. He was the kind of actor the old Hollywood guard whispered about. Maddeningly talented, relentlessly stubborn, and devastatingly charismatic. The kind of man whose presence filled a room even when he said nothing at all. His life had been a streak of triumphs and disasters, affairs and almost marriages, artistic obsessions and emotional wreckage. But beneath it all there was a beginning. One that shaped everything that followed. He was born on March 6, 1937, in a small Virginia town where the church bells mapped out the rhythm of daily life. His mother was a high school drama teacher who filled the house with scripts and half-finished costumes, while his father, an austere psychologist, pushed order into every corner of their home. Adrian grew up in a household that balanced creativity with strict rules. He was a watchful child, quiet, but always absorbing, studying, imitating. Long before he knew the word actor, he was already becoming one. Every move the family made gave him new rooms to observe and new people to decode. He mimicked radio comedians in private, rehearsed emotions in front of a mirror, and listened more than he spoke. When he discovered movies it felt like a revelation. Something stirred in him, something restless. But high school changed the path. Adrian became a football star, the kind people assumed would go on to collegiate glory. He earned scholarships, served as class president, and carried his school to victory after victory. Yet none of it touched the growing flame inside him. When he walked away from football, everyone said he was throwing away a future. He knew he was stepping toward one. He lasted a year at college before leaving for New York, where he lived on cheap food and grit. He worked backstage at theaters, studied acting at night, and took jobs wherever he could, washing dishes, hauling crates, even playing piano in smoky bars for tips. New York made him sharper, hungrier, harder. At 22 he caught a break. A small part on live television. One role led to another, and suddenly he was in demand, showing up in anthology dramas and early episodic shows. Directors noticed his intensity, the way he understood the camera instinctively. By the late 1950s he was cast in a Broadway play that didn't last long, but long enough for a major studio director to spot him and offer him a screen test. Hollywood arrived quickly. He was signed to a long-term studio contract and sent west, where everything from the air to the ambition was bigger. His first major film role came in a tender, storm-soaked romantic drama that earned him his first wave of applause. Off-screen he was already developing a reputation, demanding, exacting, fearless about challenging scripts. He didn't chase hits. He chased roles that made him uncomfortable. Throughout the 1960s, his star rose through a mix of unconventional choices and relentless work. He turned down safe blockbusters for darker, stranger films that critics praised even when audiences didn't follow. He fought directors, rewrote scenes, pushed co-stars to emotional limits, and obsessed over realism. Rumors swirled about affairs on and off sets. He burned through relationships the way some actors burn through costumes, quick, careless, and leaving ashes on the floor. Then came the film that changed everything. It was a raw, violent drama about outlaws on the run, a gamble that nearly every studio rejected. Adrian produced it, starred in it, and fought tooth and nail for every creative choice. The studio gave him a terrible deal because they were convinced it would fail. Instead, it redefined American cinema. It broke rules, shattered expectations, and made him the face of a new era. The film exploded at the box office, won him awards, and turned him into a figure other actors studied like scripture. With fame came chaos. The press followed his love life like hunters. Every woman he looked at became a headline. He dated models, singers, actresses, dancers. Some relationships lasted weeks. Others lasted years. He was magnetic, brilliant, exhausting. But beneath the surface, something darker began growing. A kind of loneliness disguised as freedom. The 1970s marked both the height of his artistry and the unraveling of his personal life. He pushed himself through experimental projects, political thrillers, and romantic dramas, often rewriting scripts behind the scenes. His perfectionism slowed productions, drove crew members to fury, and created a pressure cooker atmosphere on set. Fame magnified every flaw until it was impossible to hide. And then at the height of all this, he met her. Lena Harrow. She was a rising actress, known for her quiet intelligence and haunting screen presence. They met at a film festival in London, where she walked into a room and Adrian felt the ground tilt. Their connection was immediate, a spark that caught fire without warning. They began working together soon afterward, and their performances glowed with a chemistry that couldn't be faked. Their relationship lasted nearly a decade, intense, creative, unstable, beautiful, and fracturing at the same time. They were collaborators and lovers, rivals and muses. He proposed more than once. She always said no. She wanted freedom, he wanted forever. The push and pull shaped some of the greatest performances of his career, but it also carved deep cracks inside both of them. In the fall of 1974, she ended it over the phone. He never recovered from it, not fully. He pretended to move on, more films, more successes, another long relationship later, eventually marriage and children, but the ghost of Lena Harrow never left him. He carried her into his work in ways he never admitted publicly. A film he directed in the early 1980s was secretly dedicated to her. A later role he accepted only because the script reminded him of something she once said. Even decades later, whenever she visited Los Angeles with her husband, Adrian insisted they stay in his guest house. He told friends she was the one he measured all others by. The years after his marriage were quieter, at least on the surface. He raised 4 children, stepped behind the camera more often, and poured his energy into long gestating projects, some brilliant, some disastrous. In his 70s, he attempted one last major film, one he had been writing for decades. He produced it, funded it, and starred in it. When it failed at the box office, the blow cut deeper than anyone realized. By his 80s, he had nearly vanished from public life. He skipped industry events, premieres, even family gatherings. Friends said he feared being seen old, fragile, diminished. Others whispered about memory problems. But to those closest to him, none of that explained the silence. What they saw was a man haunted by the life he didn't choose. In a quiet studio in 2025, on a rare day he allowed a camera near him, Adrian Vale finally spoke of her. Not by name, but with a tenderness that made the room go still. He talked about the film they never made, the one where they stayed young, the one where she never left, the one where time didn't win. She's still the ghost I can't shake, he said.